Why are some zones like Skinwalker Ranch, Mount Shasta, or even that dark corner of your basement known portals for the weird, vaulting us into both our deepest dread as well as sometimes our highest hopes? Today, we're stepping into window areas, thin places where reality looks different. I'm Joy, your host of the Future Lore, and beyond monsters or miracles, I'm talking about you. Join me to find out how you can become a mirror to the weird and choose what's on the other side.
In the future lore, we stand so bright. Mystery calls in the dark of night. Curiosity dances in our eyes. Joyful beacons under endless skies.
People have always known about places where the veil between one reality and another disappears, where both the darkness and the light feel closer. But what if these aren't just feelings? Think of the shimmer from the movie Annihilation, a geographically contained zone where all biological and physical laws are refracted and mirrored. Is it any wonder that ancient cultures recognized this power and built their most revered temples, while modern groups try to call in UAP with focused intent on these same kinds of spots? By the end of this episode, you'll have a mechanism for this madness and a protocol to master your own reality. Now, imagine yourself on a road trip, cutting through a mountain town. You stop at a classic little diner, and afterwards decide to stretch your legs, look out over the hills, and just take it all in for a minute. You let go of a contented sigh, but before your breath even leaves your body, a wave of exhaustion crashes over you, the kind that steals the air from your lungs. And that air suddenly is charged. Goosebumps are prickling your arms, and primal fear spikes for no reason. You stop, turn. Did you just see something? A little flicker out of the corner of your eye? A loud crack of static in your ear. You pull out your phone because you might need help. The battery, with a full charge just moments ago, now reads 3% and is depleted as you are. You turn towards your car, and there it is, a small glowing sphere of light bobbing silently under the canopy of trees. And is it really pulsing with the rhythm of your rushing heart? It blinks once, twice, then gone. You, my friend, just had pie in a window area. And there is no simple explanation, because the usual experience of these zones is a chaotic collection of disconnected weirdness, bizarre anomalies of light and sound, creatures or structures that shouldn't exist, and sometimes a feeling of connection with all that is. But the true mystery isn't in any single event. It's that all of it, every strange report from the 3 zones that we're going to explore, is part of the same planetary pattern of points on the globe where measurable physics and what we expect from reality seems to break down. Time stretches, loops, or melts away entirely. And logic, well, it's not so logical. And it's not always what you see, but the tech going sideways, because a compass should point north. Instrument batteries shouldn't die in an instant. So, what are we really looking at? Could structural physical stresses that researchers explore through concepts like tectonic strain theory and piezoelectricity create metaphysically thin places, leading to reports of cryptids and shadows, of UAP and angels, or other manifestations? Could a space where people feel deep fear or profound peace allow other channels, other realities to bleed through? And what if these window areas aren't necessarily producing strangeness, but are reflecting it? What if the physical forces of the earth create a high fidelity mirror for consciousness of all kinds? Maybe they generate a field that doesn't just amplify a signal, but could also reveal the sender and reflect the state of those observing, with perception an essential stage of the mechanism. But first, a warning. These are more than stories. These are data logs. So let's open up the case files. Our first stop is a wild one, a patch of land in the Uintah Basin in northeastern Utah that has become synonymous with the impossible, Skinwalker Ranch. Forget the TV shows for a second. Let's talk about the raw data. Beyond the long history of Native American lore about the ranch, local law enforcement reports from the mid-20th century document a wave of bizarre and surgically made cattle mutilations. This clinical, technologically precise violence left ranchers and deputies baffled and still has no satisfying explanation. This was physical, documented, and deeply disturbing. So when billionaire Robert Bigelow bought the ranch in the 1990s, the research documented a chaotic jumble of phenomena so extreme that it eventually convinced a Defense Intelligence Agency official to recommend the creation of new government programs to investigate UAP. As detailed in the book Hunt for the Skinwalker by George Knapp, the ranch is what some might call full spectrum paranormal, with every category of high strangeness happening simultaneously in one concentrated field. They recorded UAPs, everything from silent black triangular craft that could outmaneuver fighter jets to small, remote-controlled looking orbs of light that could playfully interact with the researchers. The team deployed instruments that registered massive, inexplicable spikes in the local magnetic field, often coinciding with the appearance of these strange phenomena. But it didn't stop there. The ranch seemed to manifest things that blurred the line between the physical and the psychological. Researchers and their families reported poltergeist activity in their homes miles away from the property, a so-called hitchhiker effect, meaning the phenomena could attach itself to you, follow you, and turn your own home, your sanctuary, into another window area, reflecting your deepest anxieties and turning them into physical encounters, like some kind of cosmic subscription you can't cancel. They also encountered what could only be described as cryptids, shadowy bipedal figures that moved with unnatural speed. And in one of the most terrifying accounts, a massive wolf-like creature that they shot multiple times at close range with high-powered rifles, only that the being showed no sign of injury before vanishing. In these documents, Skinwalker Ranch wasn't a place you visited, it was a system that interacted with you, tested you, and sometimes followed you home. And the model for a full spectrum window area. And the ranch didn't just test their instruments, it tested their sanity. The phenomena seemed to tailor itself to the observer's fears, reflecting their deepest anxieties and turning them into physical encounters, a mirror reflecting the primal, unexamined fear of the scientists who entered its field. This suggests the chaos wasn't random, but a high-fidelity, customized reflection of the human consciousness present within it. And it's not just one thing. It's an everything all at once place where the barrier between reality seems to be permanently eroded, a hotspot where multiple forms of phenomena, technological, biological, and psychological, tear through all together in one wild, perfect storm. So the first rule of window areas is chaos. But what happens when the mirror starts reflecting not just our primal fears, but our most advanced technology. When a mirror effect shows up, what happens when it's someplace that's supposed to be under our complete control? Let's shift from the wilds of Utah to the sterile, hyper-secure deserts of Nevada, specifically Groom Lake, the Nevada test site, a place the world would come to know by its much more famous designation, Area 51. Here's the documented history. Between 1951 and 1992, the government conducted over 900 nuclear tests here. We punched a hole in the desert with atomic fire, creating a permanent zone of high strangeness. And this is a crucial link. UAP phenomena seem disproportionately interested in our most powerful and dangerous technology. The sheer energy saturation of the area from decades of nuclear detonations created a kind of psychic pressure cooker. And this shifted into both a literal and symbolic hotspot in the sand. In the mid-1950s, there was a massive spike in UFO sightings over Nevada. The official explanation, declassified years later, was Project Aquatone, the secret testing of the U-2 spy plane. These planes flew at over 60,000 feet, and the sun reflecting off their silver wings was supposedly what pilots were misidentifying as alien craft. Case closed, right? But here's the central riddle that unlocks this entire mystery. Why did the UFOs look like flying saucers? If it was just pilots misinterpreting a glint of light, why did the phenomenon take on a specific iconic shape, perfectly in tune with the technological zeitgeist of the atomic age? Why not angels? Why not dragons? Maybe the window area around Groom Lake wasn't a passive canvas, but an active amplifier. The intense focus of national security, high stakes, the concentrated intellect and fear poured into that one patch of desert created a powerful signal. The environment didn't just reflect, it responded. The U-2 was the physical seed, but the collective consciousness of the Cold War, thick with paranoia, secrecy, and an almost religious belief in advanced technology, was the fertile ground. The phenomenon that bloomed in the Nevada sky was a hybrid, part advanced tech, part collective myth, and all mid-century flying saucer. The consciousness of the observers and the energy of the place shipped glints of metal into wild space race fan fiction. The Nevada test site is a perfect example of a man-made window area where the line between advanced human tech and genuinely anomalous phenomena is impossibly blurred. So, we've seen how these zones reflect our tech and our terror, but what if they reflect our highest hopes too? For that, the desert is done with us. Let's head for the high country. Our third window area takes us from scorched sands to the pristine, imposing peak of a dormant volcano in Northern California, Mount Shasta, a place of imposing presence and deep mystery. For over a century, Mount Shasta has been a focal point for spiritual seekers, drawing a massive global community. Many who visit report profound positive experience, a palpable sense of transcendence, spontaneous healing, or a feeling of being in direct communication with a higher intelligence. This is the mountain's light side, a powerful natural amplifier for hope and spiritual connection. But Shasta's energy has a dark side too. Public search and rescue records document a disturbingly high number of cases where people have vanished on the mountain without a trace. Experienced hikers, children, casual tourists, they have all walked into the forests on the slope of the mountain and never seen again. And visually, the mountain is famous for its lenticular clouds. These stationary lens-shaped clouds form over the peak, and their smooth, disc-like shape has been used as an explanation for why it's a consistent hotspot for UAP sightings. It's another case of observable, real phenomena, perhaps acting as a cloak or a catalyst for high strangeness. And beyond the emotions of hope or fear, instruments like compasses also spin wildly or fail altogether. A 1987 paper in the Journal of Geophysical Research documented a significant and non-uniform magnetic anomaly centered directly over Mount Shasta. The mountain's massive volcanic geology creates a complex and powerful magnetic field, a geophysical anomaly that provides a scientific anchor for the lore surrounding the mountain. The archives are filled with eyewitness reports from the 19th and early 20th centuries of strange beings from Telos, a hidden, technologically advanced city of Lemurians, survivors of a lost continent who supposedly live deep inside Shasta. When you're in a place with documented magnetic anomalies known to affect human perception and where people regularly disappear, and also the sky is filled with saucer-shaped clouds, is it so strange to experience stumbling upon a hidden city of advanced beings? The mountain's magnetic anomaly doesn't just disrupt technology. It acts as a massive, natural, focusing lens for consciousness. For the spiritual seeker who brings an intention of peace and connection, the mirror reflects a benevolent intelligence of telos or angels. For the casual hiker, lost in fear, it reflects the primal terror of vanishing into the unknown. The mountain isn't choosing a side. It's simply amplifying and reflecting the signal that it receives. Shasta is a window area where the Earth's magnetic field is so powerful and unusual that it can directly influence both our technology and our minds, leading to a powerful feeling of unseen intelligence that we, in turn, weave into stories of hidden realms, whether they offer dread or transcendence. It's either a profound healing or you just vanished. Shasta doesn't do half measures. These three locations, from the chaotic ranch to the scorched sands to the dormant volcano, all share a common measurable physical mechanism. Now let's break down the science of how the Earth creates this mirror. And this is where we move from the what to the how. Let's start with these glowing orbs, the quintessential UAP sighting reported everywhere things get weird. A materialist explanation called Tectonic strain theory proposes a radical rethinking. What if many of these aren't craft at all? This brings us to the work of NASA geophysicist Dr. Friedman Freund. Freund's research focuses on a phenomenon called piezoelectricity, when rocks in the Earth's crust are put under immense mechanical stress, like the grinding, crushing pressure of tectonic plates moving along a fault line, they generate a powerful electrical charge. This charge can travel through the rock and be released at the surface. When it hits the atmosphere, it can ionize the air, creating self-contained mobile spheres of glowing plasma. In this view, these so-called Earth lights are real, documented, and scientifically explained phenomena. The Uinta Basin, where Skinwalker Ranch is located, is riddled with geological faults. The immense tectonic stress under the ranch is literally squeezing the rock, turning it into a generator that spews out balls of light. So the Earth itself is generating the orbs, the physical hardware for high strangeness built in. But if the hardware is that powerful, it means the planet itself has the capacity to project phenomena that can be taken for intelligent. The question isn't just, what is it? But what is it showing us? Because if the Earth is a transmitter, your body gets the signal. And this isn't just a metaphor. Your brain has a native biological component for the interaction. Magnetite, as we mentioned in our solar video, tiny crystals in your pineal gland that act as a built-in sensor that allows for a direct neuromagnetic link. Research on human perception of magnetic fields, while in its early stages, suggests that your brain is active as a compass. This means the Earth's magnetic fluctuations aren't just external weather. They can create a direct neurophysiological resonance inside of you, a highly sensitive instrument. Mount Shasta's powerful and unusual magnetic field is a perfect example of a gigantic, naturally occurring version of this, turning up the volume on a sense you already possess. So, if we're hardwired for this, can it be triggered on demand? This brings us to the famous and famously controversial work of neuroscientist Dr. Michael Persinger and his God helmet. Persinger's initial research claimed that by applying weak, targeted magnetic fields, about the strength of a hairdryer, to the temporal lobes of a person's brain, he could reliably induce the feeling of an unseen presence. People in his dark, silent chamber often reported the distinct sensation of a ghost, an angel, or even a deity standing there right next to them. But here's the most interesting part. Not everyone saw the same thing. Some felt profound peace, others a crushing dread. If the machine was the trigger, why was the experience so deeply personal? This suggests the brain is not just a sensor, but an active participant in the manifestation. But your senses can be hijacked too. This brings us to the Fry effect, named after the scientist who first documented it in the 1960s. The Fry effect is a phenomenon where the brain directly perceives pulsed microwave radiation, a form of magnetic energy, as sound. The whispers aren't in the air. They're being generated inside your neurology by an external field. The research is clear. If you stand in a strong enough magnetic field, the energy is absorbed by the soft tissues of your head, causing rapid thermal expansion that generates a pressure wave, which the cochlea in your inner ear interprets as an auditory signal, a clicking, buzzing, or even a voice. In high energy window areas where Earth's tectonic and magnetic forces are spiking, the environment itself is creating these magnetic radiation fields. This means when you hear a voice coming from the rock or a click of static in your ear, it's not necessarily a skinwalker. It's your brain's natural, measurable reaction to a high energy environment. So what does this all mean? It means the weirdest isn't magic, it's physics. The Earth is a giant chaotic machine, and you're inside of it, sometimes standing right in a tangle of its complex wiring. But this only explains the hardware, the raw physical forces at play. It doesn't explain the feeling of meeting another intelligence behind it all. The feeling of a malevolent entity in the dark isn't necessarily a demon. It could be your body's physiological response to measurable forces, geoelectricity, magnetism, tectonic stress, that aren't creating illusions, but physiologically shifting your temporal perception, allowing you to pick up on phenomena that are normally gated out in your default low energy state. But the question remains, are these forces merely a generator of illusion? Or are they the key to unlocking a layer of reality that is always present and ready to interact? But we can only perceive when the surrounding forces are strong enough to rip the veil. So we have the science of the Earth's magnetic field and our body's ability to pick up a signal in the noise built into the hardware of our reality. But how do we hijack the software of our perception? This is where we move from being a bystander to becoming a partner in the strange. What if a window area isn't just a one-way door we peer through? What if, when it opens, it also functions as a high-fidelity mirror? Maybe these zones aren't just neutral physical amplifiers letting random weirdness in. Maybe they become intelligent, responsive, attractive, and reflective surfaces for consciousness of all kinds. It could be that the physical forces don't just open a portal, they turn that portal into a high-definition mirror for whatever beings and whatever state of being we bring to it, and meet us at the frequency we're at. Suddenly, the window area isn't a threat. It's an instant diagnostic tool for your deepest fears and highest potential. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the experiences had in these gateway zones aren't real and physical, including the anomalous. But it's a matter of shifting the fundamental question from, what did I see, to, what is this place showing me about me? And this reframes everything. The terrifying cryptids and shadow figures at Skinwalker Ranch aren't just materialized fear static. They're a perfect high-fidelity reflection of our personal and collective unexamined primal shadow. This intense window area shows us the monster we refuse to look at inside. It's not just a haunted place, but also maybe holding up a mirror to a haunted culture. And if that's true, the same goes for the positive. Sometimes people experience what they describe as angels or other transcendent beings that bring moments of breakthrough, a gnosis, a knowing so fast and so clear it feels like that had to come from outside of you. Maybe all of this isn't just external interference of the cosmic machine materializing as an idea, but also reflecting your own higher, coherent self back to you when you finally get quiet enough to see it. The phenomenon could be a way to see what the collective and your personal baseline are. And here's the biggest leap, one that takes you beyond simply being a witness to the weirdness. For better or worse, the mirrors aren't just waiting around in these big archetypal zones. They can be portable. What if you don't have to leave your house to be in a window area? Some research like that of the amazing Dr. Dean Radin suggests that water can act as an energetic field amplifier. This is because water has a liquid crystalline structure that can be influenced by external electromagnetic fields and even our focused intent. This concept of water as a highly resonant medium might be why ancient cultures built their most sacred sites near rivers and springs, and maybe at least part of why your best ideas come in the shower. I will admit to having some flat-out vision quest type trances, and even poltergeist activity in my bath. And ancient practices like feng shui identified geopathic stress zones where energy feels stagnant or chaotic, micromirrors reflecting our internal state written into our immediate environments, a primal understanding of the same energetic principles that create the anomalies like those at the big gateway zones like Skinwalker Ranch. So, the ultimate skill is to, through your own focused intent, become a window area yourself. To turn your body and immediate environment with your heart and mind brought into coherence into a powerful, portable window area. This is the radical idea behind what some know as the calling in phenomena. We established earlier that your brain contains magnetite, making you a sensor to the Earth's magnetic field. But you're not just a sensor, you're a beacon too. And the real power lies in your heart. Verified research from the HeartMath Institute shows the heart produces your body's largest electromagnetic field. When you experience fear, this field is chaotic and dense. But when you shift into gratitude and focused positive intent, this field becomes coherent and expanded, a powerful, organized signal that can be detected with instruments up to many feet away from your body. This is the physiological state ancient mystics sought out through practice and ritual. And this isn't just one theory. The ancients knew it, and now published studies show that regular meditation and focused gratitude lead to demonstrable positive changes in brain structure and function, enhancing attention and reducing stress. When we achieve this state of high internal coherence between an aligned heart and mind, we are physically optimizing our internal system to interact with the external world. In deep focus, you don't just get quiet. It can be a deliberate protocol to stabilize and amplify this internal field, turning your entire body into a clean, high-fidelity window area. And even more, experiments like those at the Rhine Research Center have found that some meditators can intentionally project significant levels of electromagnetic radiation in the form of biophotons. And yes, that means a weak but physical glow of light emanating from their bodies, demonstrating that focused intent is a fully measurable external biophysical effect. The science and practice of positive intent is the basis of a methodology formalized as Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, or CE5 by Stephen Greer, which is a system for conscious, voluntary human interaction with non-human intelligences, or NHI. Also known as calling in, we can reframe CE5 as the modern structured application of ancient mastery of your personal field. The meditation and intent help to achieve a clear, high-frequency resonance, opening a window area reflecting the highest version of reality, and that can lead to experiences that feel transcendent, or dare I say, even miraculous. So let's consider that any UAP or other high strangeness that might appear isn't the event. It's the confirmation that this field is open, reflecting your signal back to you. And in the end, your experience is the only thing that matters. So let's bring this all the way back home. For too long, we've treated these moments as either hauntings or revelations. That wave of primal dread or transcendent bliss could be that a window area just opened and it's asking you to look. And what if the mirror is not here to scare you or to save you, but to show you? The science gave us the hardware, geoelectricity, the neurology, the energy of flat-out balls of plasma. The lore gave us the data log of the strange highs and lows we feel when we stand in front of it. And maybe when we refuse to look at our inner chaos, the mirror reflects our monsters. But when we choose to bring our inner peace, it can show us our miracles. Imagine opening to all of the reflections of all of the parts of yourself demanding to be seen. This is the radical potential. And whether you wander in unawares or conjure one from your focused intent, this is where you can make peace at last. The greatest act of diplomacy doesn't use a dog whistle. It reaches out with an aligned consciousness and brings that clarity to the table. So, here is the dare. Radical self-awareness. Consider that the weirdness of the personal informs the collective shadow. But whether you see the monsters inside or outside, do not run. Hold the line. Acknowledge your raw feeling with no judgment. It could be dread, confusion, bliss. Then know that it's a reflection, and no emotion lasts forever, for better or worse. And then ask the only question that really matters. What are you showing me about myself right now? Because it's not so much about manifesting a better reality, but getting honest enough to really see the one you're reflecting right now. So if this planet is a hall of mirrors, the universe is just waiting for you to shine back. Bring your coherent heart and mind. And that is how we finally make contact with ourselves, with each other, and with everything and everyone behind the veil. Remember this. You are far more powerful, far more strange, and far more connected than you have ever been told. So don't just witness your reality. Reach out, make contact, and reflect on it. Then drop your field reports below in the comments. I can't wait to hear what the mirror showed you. And let's keep exploring together. Please support the channel. Drop us a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell on YouTube. Follow, rate, and review on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen. Those free little clicks are your signal to the system that you care about the wild edges of reality and consciousness. Want even more? Visit thefuturelore.com to join our free community and find all of our official links, which are at thefuturelore everywhere. Thanks for tuning in again, my loves. I'm so glad to be here with you to embrace the mysterious and stay curious.
through space and time.